Oh my God, I have so much going on behind the scenes concerning art. Like, I don't have enough time and space in video land to be able to express everything that's going on. And so I think this thing about art is life, life is art, it's its thing. It's a series here. I am putting it underneath the banner of the magic of somatic money. And there's so much connection with money, art, spirituality, and how the toxic patriarchy affects all of it, especially for women. I think the first thing I want to talk about right out of the gate is how important art is, especially in an attempt at a fascist environment. And there is a fellow artist video that I want to share with you. I found her right out of the gate. I love this message. So this is Studio Terra Terra on TikTok, and just listen to the front end of her message here.
There is something very interesting and not good happening in the art world right now. I really thought that. Now, if you are an artist, a creative maker, and you have not been publishing your work recently because you feel guilty, because the world is falling apart around us, I need you to stop doing that. I want to start this by talking about the fact that art is important. Artists are important. The seat that an artist sits in is one of privilege. Art creates culture. It responds to current events. Art starts movements. It starts revolutions. It gives people voices when they don't have one.
Got it? Your art, my art is important, no matter what that is, especially in the environment that we're in. And now I want to talk about somatic response in art and somatic response in fascist environments. Let's go through that really quick. Remember, I am a somatic money coach, so I bring my somatics now from the money into the art. Let's go chakra by chakra. So in a fascist environment, what is our somatic reaction in our third eye? It breaks up and it shuts down. So what do you need to be doing? You need to be doing your meditation. You need to be going out in nature. You need to be consciously connecting with higher vibrational energy to reopen that third eye. Okay, how does a fascist environment affect throat chakra? It affects throat chakra by wanting to silence people, close the throat chakra off. That shuts down value. What does art do? What does art do? It opens that up. So you want to be singing, you want to be dancing, you want to be gardening, talking to yourself, gardening. You want to be opening up your throat chakra with color and texture in your art. Okay, let's move to the heart chakra. Fascist regime, fascist environment wants to break our hearts and hurt us and shut us down. And so our hearts are in turmoil. Our hearts don't know which way to turn. Our hearts don't know what to do. So what's most important here? It's most important, again, disconnect from the matrix, get away from the matrix, kind of get back into nature a little bit, tune in with your higher and better spirit team, connect with what you love, who you love, reignite that heart connection. There's a heart connection in art, whatever that art is for you. Let's move on to the solar plexus. Solar plexus is all about our power center. And what does a fascist environmental regime want to do? It wants to make us victims. It wants to make us helpless. It wants to take away our power. What does art do? The singing, the dancing, the painting on canvas, the gardening, the whatever art looks like to you, it brings that sun power back to our center and puts our center back in our core, in our abdominals, gives us our power back, not buying into helplessness and victimhood through expressive art, whatever that art is for you. Gives you your power back. Are you getting the message? Let's move to second chakra. Second chakra is so important. Second chakra is home of creation, co-creation, making love, partnership, agreement, exchange. What does a fascist environmental regime want to do? It wants to harness us. It wants to take away our creative force and then give it to them. And so what do we do with our art? We go, hey, I am doing my art because I am an expressive being. That's second chakra. That's second chakra. And you know what else? That's home of money. That's home of money. That's my land, the land that I am play in. And you know what? Money, people think money is object. No, money is one of the most expressive, creative mediums we can be working with. And that's how money used to be before it was bastardized by the toxic financial patriarchy. Bring it back to the feminine. Work with your second chakra through your form of art, through your form of connecting with partnership, agreement, and exchange. That connects up the art and the color and the creativeness. It's connected into MONEY, right? You get those art juices flowing, you get the money juices flowing, and then the money supports the art. Second chakra, people, second chakra. And then we come to root chakra, which is about manifestation, but it's also about stability, which is our pelvis, our legs, our knees, our feet, then connected into the earth star. And so when we practice, really practice our art that connects up all of our chakras, suddenly we're standing in a land of stability because we put our feet beneath us, our knees beneath us, our legs beneath us, connected into the stability of our pelvis, and we're actually manifesting. And so now I want to ask you a question. You think art is important? You think art is important or not? And so these are some of the thoughts I have been having as I have been exploring my own art. And the other thing that art does is it ignites things. It gives us ideas. It gives other people ideas. The art I'm experiencing right now is literally turning on something in my brain where I am beginning to see more in color and I'm beginning to see more in texture. It literally is changing my brain, rewiring, and then it is activating and awakening my entire body. Like sometimes when I feel shut down, I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I can do anything and I can't handle what's going on in the world. I don't even know if I can do my art. And I go back into my art room and I crack things open. It's like, are we playing with trying to figure out my texture medium today? Or are we playing with the watercolor? Whatever it is that I decide to do, once I engage and I get into it, like within 5 minutes, I'm in a completely different world that no one else has power over. And so I'm going to pull that Kristen Key quote again and say, like she says, I practice my comedy because I refuse to let them take my joy. We practice our art because we refuse to let them take over our somatic system. We practice art so we can have our sovereignty, claim our sovereignty of our body as powerful, creative, forceful beings. And that's just one message I have for you today. So number 2, I want to share some of my art. So I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to just show you a few pieces. First, let's start with that sunflower. You all have seen my sunflower. You love the sunflower. Some of you wanted the sunflower. I tried ordering the sunflower from Luminarts, and look at how dark the background is here compared to here. So I do have prints. If you want to have this print, let me know, but I am not happy with the print. But I want to go find a better printer where I can actually get a decent corresponding print. Then I wanted to paint dragonflies. Here I like these a little bit better. Here's some dragonflies. So I got a hankering to do bubbles, and these were my first bubbles. And I got done with them and I was like, you know, wow, I really need to learn more about brush control. So learning more about brush control. And then I got done with it. I'm like, oh, light source. There's a light source. There's a light source. Like my light sources were all confused and all over the place. And I'm like, I want to do more bubbles. And so I came back this next time and look at this. Did a little bit better. And I love them. Like, you know, what's really funny is like, as I did each bubble, I swear to God, each one has its own character and personality and was talking to me. And, you know, we had a lot of fun with this. And then the other one that I want to show you was my abstract landscape. I just love doing abstract landscape with watercolor. And so this is a progression. Like the ones you saw before, I was trying to do watercolor abstract with acrylic brushes and not knowing too much technique. And so this is actually watercolor brushes and beginning to be aware of the wet on wet and wet on dry techniques and learning how to work with contrast. So, you know, it's coming along a little bit, and I love my sparkly paints. I'll put some sparkly paints in there. So that's some of the artwork that I wanted to share with you. And now I've just got a couple of quick announcements, and then I want to go into story. I want to share my watercolor inception story with you. So real quick, I want to flip the camera around and I want to show you our Life is Art, Art is Life, and the next step in the Cross Pollination project. There's a whole bunch going on here. Take a look at this. So exciting. And we are at the Art tab, which is all the way over there. And this is our place to meet up to talk about Art is Life, Life is Art, Be the Revolution. And remember earlier this spring, Spirit Team came to me and they're like, we need you to do affiliate marketing. And I was like, blah, blah. Affiliate marketing, no. And then I found out Shopify has software for affiliate marketing. And we tried that for a little while. And there were some people that stepped forward and that was really lovely. And ultimately I was like, this is not right. This is not right. And then I was like, I had this Spirit Team channeled to me, had this idea of like, oh, cross pollination, cross pollination. What if I interview people and then they do their own digital information workshop-y thing, kind of similar to what I do. And so we do an interview and highlight them and talk about all their good, juicy, delicious stuff. And then they provide like a 60 to 75-minute workshop-y video that we sell so that we can support art and support projects like this. Like, let's keep it financially practical and expressive and all of that. And look at this. I want you to read through this. There's my first Art is Life, Life is Art video, right? And if you want to cross-pollinate with me, if you want to share with me and my audience what you're doing with things like, let's get to the topic areas. Look at this. Women's discussions about inspired spirituality, art, and feminine money in a patriarchal culture. And so if you want to come on and talk about aspects, you don't have to have all of these, but talk about aspects of your spirituality or work as a practitioner and your relationship with money, your path with money or business, and the challenges that you've had to go through doing this in a patriarchal culture. God, we've got something to talk about because that's everything that we're all dealing with, quite specifically. So, page down here, if you want to come on and do an interview and a digital product and let's mix things up and explore and find out what's going on, this is a whole other level of affiliate marketing. No, we're off the map in a whole new creative way. Come in and apply. And tell me about who you are and what you do and what's important to you and what you want to discuss and the challenges and cross-pollination product ideas and what do you want to let me know, and submit it. Let me know. So this Art is Life, Life is Art, Be the Revolution. This is going to be an ongoing project topic area. I'm going to be talking about my own art experiences, but I want to bring other people into the conversation because we have so much to talk about, how spirituality, art, and feminine money, whatever combination that is or whatever that looks like for you, is affected by a patriarchal culture, right? So light up my boards. Now I've got a story to tell. I've got one of my own art stories that I want to tell, and that is the beautiful and heartbreaking inception of my, finally getting connected with my inner watercolor artist. I mean, I turned 56 next month, and so it's taken me, like when I first knew inside of myself, I was 5 years old, people. I was 5 years old when I had my first watercolor experience, but I had no verbal skills and I had no technical skills, and I was surrounded by adults who did not get it. They were shutting me down, not because they wanted to, but just because of the environment. And I didn't know how to get connected through to what I was experiencing and connected up with a physical reality. It has taken me 50 years to do that. And so what happened? This is what happened. So you all saw my last video where I painted the shaded blue and just burst into tears and I'm crying and I'm like, oh my God, the somatic response on that, the emotive somatic response on that was incredible. And it really hasn't stopped. Like 2 nights ago, I was texture art piping out curves and I burst into tears again. So I think this is just going to be an ongoing experience for a little while. But when I finally broke out my watercolors and started painting with them, one of the things that happened is I kind of sort of felt like, I need a daubing towel or something between the paints. I, trying to figure out how it all worked and what was going on. And so for a short time I was using paper towels, and then I realized, oh, this is not good for the environment, and this is also not good for, like, I don't need to be doing disposable paper towels. But in the process, like, I'm daubing the towel, and just filled the towel up. I mean, it was watery and watercolor and everything, between my painting. And then I held the paper towel up, people, and bam, I was connected right back to a memory from 5 years old. 5 years old. And the images that I'm showing you are these paper towels filled with my watercolor that created this cathartic experience. So bam, I looked at my paper towels at one point, and I got transported back to 5 years old. So I'm 5 years old. So this would be mid-1970s. Like, this would probably be summer in 1974. And my biological family, we lived in Colorado, but root family was all spread out through Indiana. And so my family, we really never got vacation, so to speak. Our vacation was traveling from Colorado back to Indiana for all sorts of things. But so we had traveled back to Indiana in our 1969 black and white Bronco, four-wheel drive Bronco, right? Just the memories on this. And, we're back in central Indiana, it's Brownsburg, Indiana. Mom, Dad, me, and my brother, and it's hot. It's that insufferable high humidity heat of the Midwest. I mean, this is like what, July-ish we were back there. And so it's like, I don't know, mid-morning, and grandmother's out, she's watering her flowers, and grandfather's doing stuff in the garden. My parents were all roaming around, and they had a big yard and a patio. My brother and I, we had been given the Crayola crayons. We had some Crayola crayons. So we're drawing with our Crayola crayon set, right? And I had this feeling come through me. I started seeing all this light and all this color. And I know now, like, those were angels. Those like really high vibrational light frequency angels coming through. And it was all these beautiful watercolors. Like, when you look at a very light, colorful watercolor that an artist has painted, that's what I saw. I was seeing that in energy space at 5 years old. Quantum light all lit up in watercolor. And so I'm drawing with my crayons, and I'm seeing all of this, and I'm so nonverbal. I can't tell anybody this. So I look around and I start problem solving, and I'm like, oh, grandmother's watering her flowers with the hose, and there's a watering can, and there's paper towels over there. And so I went over, I got paper towels and ripped them off, and I put my Crayola crayons, I drew Crayola crayons onto the paper towel, and then I took the paper towel outside, and I got the hose and filled the watering can, and then I took the watering can to pour over my Crayola crayon, my Crayola crayon paper towel picture, putting the water over it, thinking, oh, if I put the water over it, then what I see there is what I'm seeing in energy space. 5 years old, people. 5 years old, 1974. 50 years later, after all this shit happened in my life, 50 years later, I'm holding up a paper towel with my watercolor paints on it, now finally being able to bring to fruition what my 5-year-old self had seen. Now my nearly 56-year-old self is actually creating for her. Like, when I put those pieces of the puzzle together, like, I sat here in my house and I kind of cried a little bit, but it was more like this reverberation of like, oh my God. It was a feeling of like, what else got shut down? Because at that time, early 70s, I'm 5, like, think about it. At that time, 1973, 1974, yes, there was a whole revolution going on, but it hadn't really reached my family. Like, my family would be considered like very conservative Democrat. very conservative, liberal Democrat. And so me doing what I was doing with the paper towels and the crayons and all of that, you know, it was poo-pooed. It was like, oh, look what you're doing. And oh, you're making a mess. And oh, why would you even want to do that? I remember all of that. And then on top of it, I couldn't get it to look how I saw it. And so to have my nearly 56-year-old self create that for my inner 5-year-old, worlds blew open. And me coming full circle now, and every time I sit down to paint, not only am I training myself with technique and skills and tools, not only am I doing that, I can feel myself, you know, re-embracing or connecting or reconnecting with aspects of myself through my whole life that were traumatized or shut down or not recognized, especially in the art area. And like I said at the front end of the video, as I do my art, my entire body is getting reconnected up in a way that I don't think anything else could do for me at this point. And it's messy and it's scary and uncomfortable and it's beautiful and it's powerful. And every morning I wake up, I get up, and the first thing I do, I go look at the art that I made the day before, just so I can see the progress, just so I can see the color. And it is just, it's such a gift. It is such a gift. So I hope you stick around for the ride. We're going to be doing so much more here in so many different aspects. I'd love to hear some of your stories in the comments. That would be wonderful. Make sure you come and participate in this. And we are going to be doing so much more with Art is Life. Life is art. Be the revolution. Yeah. I'll see you in my next video. Mwah.